Two of my favorite obsessions of mine right now are poetry and perfume. Nothing can transport you through time or space quite like a poem or a scent. So today I'm doing part 1 in a 3-part series on poetry perfume pairing. These are some of my favorite poems or excerpts from some of my favorite poems that I'm going to assign a fragrance that I either own and adore or a fragrance that I've smelled recently and can't stop thinking about. I'll read the poem or excerpt first and then tell you what you're supposed to spray on your wrist while reading said poem, so you can have the full poetic olfactory experience. Starting with one of my favorite poems ever, this is an excerpt from I'm a Fool to Love You by Cornelius, Eady. The final 6 lines of the poem are, "This is the way the blues works. Its sorry wonders makes trouble look like a feather bed, makes the wrong man's kisses a healing." And to that very romantic and mournful sentiment, I assign the ELDO fragrance Un Amourette. Un Amourette is a very woody, spicy, mournful perfume to me. If the blues makes trouble look like a feather bed, this fragrance smells like the house where that feather bed is. Both the poem and the fragrance have this sort of world-weary, nostalgic quality to them, and that's why I put them together. Spritz a little Un Amourette on your wrist, read the full poem by Cornelius, Eady, and you will know the way the blues works. This next poem is an excerpt from The Fury of Flowers and Worms by Anne Sexton. "Let the flowers make a journey on Monday so that I can see 10 daisies in a blue vase, with perhaps 1 red ant crawling to the golden center. A bit of the field on my table, close to the worms who struggle blindly, moving deep into their slime, moving deep into God's abdomen, moving like oil through water, sliding through the good brown." The imagery of flowers, dirt, and oil immediately made me think of Dirty Flower Factory by Kerosene. This is a scent that I do not own, but I'm currently looking for a full bottle because it's the earthiest, most industrial flower scent I've ever encountered. I'm in love with it. I adore it, and I adore how this poem starts out. This poem is floral, but it's dirty and weird, just like Dirty Flower Factory. I think smelling Dirty Flower Factory while reading The Fury of Flowers and Worms by Anne Sexton would kind of be like attending a 4D movie, where you're immersed in the words and you're immersed in this extrasensory experience. I just adore this poem, and I adore this fragrance, and I think they go together perfectly. Now for something completely different. This is an excerpt from Vagus Nerve by Joyelle McSweeney. I've never heard anyone talk about Joyelle McSweeney. I have her poetry collection, Toxicon and Arachne, and it is just stunning. Every poem is better than the last. So without further ado, Vagus Nerve. Like a star who snuffs out its own path like a czar, who wears many beam trinket on his chest, like a target for a taser or a laser-guided stent, quasaring throb that knocks in the breast of the ocean-going vessel, fist-sized wren or cardiac event, with the plush that coats the stag's rack, stoked grand or glitch, pumping out air in the constellation Lyra, the second most glamorous star. And to this very cosmic and beautiful and sort of astringent poem, I assign the Tokyomilk fragrance Starcross'd. Starcross'd kind of smells like a new type of alcohol that I have yet to drink but would love to try. It's very aromatic, fresh and spicy, green, floral, balsamic, and aquatic. It definitely smells celestial in a very down-to-earth way, and I love this fragrance. I love Joyelle McSweeney's Vagus Nerve. This collection, Toxicon and Arachne, is really terrific, and I'll be covering 2 more of her poems in the next 2 parts. I think more people should have her on their shelf. Next, for something completely different again, this is an excerpt from a poem from Michael Robbins' poetry collection, Alien vs. Predator. It's called The Smallest Accredited Zoo in the Nation. Let's go to Lori in our eye in the sky for a look at traffic. Thanks, Don. It's an hour in from the hut of intelligent design to the saddest taper in the nation. Nothing left of the sharper image but ashes. All fall down, Lori. All fall down, Don. This poem is strange, utterly inscrutable, and burned to a crisp around the edges, and that's why I assign DS and Durga's Burning Barbershop to it. Burning Barbershop smells exactly like its name. When you smell it, you instantly picture what it's trying to tell you, and I think the same could be said of Michael Robbins' poem. Burning Barbershop definitely smells like smoke, burning wood, and shaving cream that's just about to bubble over and pop in the heat of the flames. I couldn't have assigned any other fragrance to this poem, frankly. Last is a poem by Rennie Arment from her book Mechanical Bull. The poem is called The Tender Creeps. 10 elm trees were fed semen, 7 grew bells. September these spell-bred jewels fell, peppered the green velveted dell. Lepers, they rested, fender bent, deep welts blessed every severed bell. Yet deers rejected them, elk swerved, hens pecked, repented were repelled. The pervert cedar then re-entered, tested, selected the best bells. Schlepped, levered these wrens, kestrel trek, the genreless bells never rest, they knell senseless, free reference. To me, this poem is unrelentingly strange, unapologetically literary, is not afraid to play with words. It's a very word-centric poem where the sound of the words is almost more important than their meaning themselves. Because of how bizarre this poem is and its emphasis on words, I chose Sudu by Perfumology to pair with it. Sudu is a very strange, intoxicating fragrance to me personally. It's described as a warm, spicy, tropical, fruity fragrance, but to me it smells like expensive calligraphic ink. I can't put my finger on why it smells like ink to me. With Rennie Arment playing so effortlessly with words, I thought a fragrance that smelled like ink and was unapologetically strange in itself would work perfectly. That's all for this edition of Poetry Perfume Pairings. If you have a poem you really love, I would love to hear which of your favorite fragrances you would assign to this poem. If you have a poem you really hate, I'm also very curious to see what scent you would assign that poem. I'm always curious to hear from you. I'm having a blast over here smelling perfume and reading poetry. So until next time, bye!